All right. Good evening, everyone. How are you all doing? Hopefully, we're not having any malfunctions like Friday. It appears the sound might be working. I hope so. Let me all know if you can hear me. Yep, okay. Seems to be picking up. Good. How is everyone? We actually got quite a few people in here tonight already. Jackie, welcome. Sadat, welcome. Andrew, good to see you again. Animal Man, welcome. Luna and Ariel and Mystic Lavender White Wolf. Hello. And Crimson Knight, welcome. Welcome to the Magickal Coffee Hour. Oh, that's good coffee. Okay. And Hellcat, welcome. Glad you was able to make it. Peachy, we see you there. Hope everyone has been having a wonderful weekend. We have been having some rain and a little light storming coming in. Nothing too awful bad. Hopefully it doesn't mess up with the stream too bad. I know a few people mentioned we was having some latency issues or some lagging, but hopefully we'll be working all right tonight. At least it appears the sound's working this time. Okay. Let's see what do we got here. So it's actually been an interesting weekend for me. I've actually stayed pretty freaking busy. I've been working a lot with Azazel this weekend. I'm actually getting ready to finally do a video on him, like many of you all have been requesting. So there's that coming. We're also working with the Planetary Dragons. We're wanting to make sure to get that video up. I'm thinking that might be next month when that video goes up. But it's an area of dragon magic that doesn't get talked about a lot. And I'm not sure if they're going to put it in the courses or not, because the courses seem to focus more on the primary 9 rulers and working through the 9 elements and more of the specialty dragons in those areas. So I was, talking with the first 4 rulers about the planetary dragons and getting a video up about those, and possibly even doing some on the zodiac dragons. So that's been all the process that we've been going through this weekend. And of course, with the week starting now, I'm going to be doing a lot of evocation work and whatnot, further building on that and getting that ready to go. Let's see. Now, someone asked a fascinating question on the YouTube channel. Oh, Jacob, welcome. Noctis, good to see you back. And Rondu, good to see you. Good to see you. Welcome. If I mess up your name, people, I do apologize. Scott, hey, what's up? Been a while. Grab a cup. Emily, aloha. We got 12 people here in the chat, 8 likes. If you haven't already, hit that like button. Give us a thumbs up. It helps support the channel. Gets the word out on everything we're doing. And by the way, speaking of what we're doing, we are 10 subscriptions from 3K, which means we're just 2010 away from the 5K challenge. So you guys are really doing it. You might very well hit the 5K by Halloween, and I might have to do the stream in whatever costume my wife picks out. Upside, that also means we'll still be having that drawing for the Dragon Magic 101 courses. So keep it up. Share the channel with everyone that you think might be interested in, and share the videos with the content that you think people are looking for in their personal practice. But anywho, back to what I was saying. I got a question, and I should have wrote the viewer's name down, but she asked me what should she do about fairy circles in her yard if she lives in a place where they have strict rules on yard maintenance or a homeowners association type situation. And this is actually a fascinating question because it is something I've had to deal with, but you don't really see this addressed at all anywhere. But you always hear, don't disturb the fairy circles. And that is true. So here's the situation that I told her. It's really important. This actually brings up an aspect of working with the Fae that a lot of people tend to forget about. So if you let the Fae know in your area that you are bound to the contract of the homeowners association and that you have to follow this set of rules, the Fae understand this because they're bound by Fae law. So they understand that you have to do this just as they have to follow the Fae law. And if you give them that heads up, they will set the fairy circles up. They'll use the fairy circles, but they know when you go and clean up your yard and maintain your yard because you have to, they're not going to be upset. They're actually going to understand that you are doing what is necessary, what you have to do, what you've agreed to do, because you are upholding a contract that you did previously agree to, and that they are operating in an area where this contract exists. So if you are running into a situation like that, be aware, as long as you let them know, there's no issues at all. If you let them know before you tear it down, don't just go mowing it over and then tell them later. You want to give them the heads up first and then do it. I hope that clarifies that. And that does apply to many other situations when you are working with the Fae. All right. Okay, I spread the word when and where I can. I appreciate it, Hellcat. I really do. I really appreciate it. So yeah, that has really been my weekend. It has been a busy weekend. My normal day off, most of you know, is Saturday. I really didn't take the day off. I just kind of kept working through and trying to get some of this information caught up. Because actually, I am getting ready to start a path working. So I don't know how that path working is going to affect my filming schedule. So I'm trying to work ahead and get some stuff caught up, or at least some research notes done ahead of time so that if I get slowed down on anything, it's not going to affect any timing. Uh, Other than that, it has been a really good weekend. One thing I am looking to is I'm thinking I'm going to get up early tomorrow and light the smoker and throw a pork shoulder on. I haven't had a pork shoulder in a month or two. I think a month and a half, something like that. Anyways, it's been way too long since I ran my smoker, so I'm thinking about doing that. Anywho, anyone got any questions this evening, or should I just keep rambling? Because I got more. I do got more. In fact, while you're thinking of your questions, one issue I keep seeing pop up in my email, in the Discord, well, and in many of the pagan magical groups that tolerate me. I'm kidding. They keep asking what entity is good for this, what entity is good for this, what entity does this. It is true that many entities are classified by where they work and what they do. Even gods, we refer to them as the god of war, the god of love, the god of magic, these different things like that. Truth be told, that is a human aspect that we are putting them into a labeled box. We are placing limitations on these entities by doing so. These entities are far more than capable of reaching outside those limitations that we have put upon them. So let's take Odin, for example. Many of us know Odin as a god of war, a god of magic, a god of poetry. And he is all these things. This is true. But you shouldn't look at these as the only things that he can do. You should look at these as things that he is interested in, his personality wise. This is kind of his hobbies, his special interests, areas of study that he excels in. That does not mean that Odin cannot help you with love magic. That doesn't mean that Odin couldn't help you with fixing your computer if you're a techno witch. These entities are far more than the itty bitty little box that we try to shove them into. And the reason I bring this up, because if you find an entity that you really get along with and you work really, really well with, and you have that great relationship where you can spend every day working with this entity and never get tired of them, and you come across a issue that doesn't necessarily fall into that tiny little box that humans put that entity in, that doesn't mean you have to walk away from the entity and find another one in order to solve your issue. You can work with that entity to do it. Now, that's not to say that there's no reason to make friends and bond with other entities for other reasons, because a specialist is a specialist, let's be honest. Just because someone can fix your computer might not be the best choice as someone who actually fixes computers on a regular day, every day of the week. Um, so finding an entity that does have those specializations, that's fine, that's wonderful, and that's great. The problem is when people think that those specializations is all they can do. They're far larger and they're far more capable than those minor little specializations that we give them. And this is also one of the reasons people have trouble finding information on some entities, because some entities, they don't really have a specialization, and it's so broad that it's hard to do a write-up on information on what they can work with you with. But that is something I've been getting a lot of questions on, and I wanted to bring that up here, or rant, as you all have been saying. Oh, let's see what we got here. We got some comments in here. Hellcat, Deathwish has not sponsored me. I would love if Deathwish sponsored my channel. I really would. As much coffee as I buy from them, that would be freaking awesome. But so far, they have not chosen to sponsor my channel. Them and Iron Bean, actually, both of those companies. Oh, Lordy. I would probably be giddy and giggling for like a week straight if one of those coffee companies decided to sponsor this channel. I mean, how perfect would that be? Oh, Lordy. Let's see what we got here. Mystic Lavender White Wolf says, lately, when meditating, my guardian dragon has been sending images of divination tools. Does that necessarily mean that's how she wants me to contact her? No, actually, it's more likely that she is kind of hoping that you would pick up those divination tools and spend more time with them if you've already practiced with them, or learn them for some reason. She has a reason for you wanting to learn them. Dragons don't really have a preference in contact. It's more of a, they're going to help you learn multiple things, and they don't. One of the reasons dragons don't do the one of the reasons they don't do preferences like that is they want the magician and the practitioner to have as broad a spectrum of skills as possible, and they don't want to limit you to a singular area. And this is doubly true for the guardian and the co-magician. So it is more likely that that guardian wants you to look into, study those divination styles and learn more about them, even practice them if they're one you haven't picked up yet, and if they're one you have picked up, they're wanting you to spend more time with it. But great question. Luna has popcorn. Okay. Hey, Drake. Yay for Odin. Yeah, he gets thrown under the bus for a lot of examples. I mean, him and I work a lot together. We bug each other, and he throws me under the bus when we're working. So, yeah, I'm going to toss him under the bus when I get a chance on an example. Well, I hate to say it, but that makes sense, Peachy, because your quality of coffee really does depend on that water. Hey, Bernaldez, good to see you. You've been AWOL in Discord a lot lately, my man. Good to see you made it to the stream tonight. Hopefully you've just been busy and everything's fine. Scott asked, can I make a servitor to do the adulting for me? Not to my knowledge, my man. As much as I've got going on and things I need to juggle, if I find a way, I will let you know, Scott, because the first thing I'd be doing is getting servitors to clean the house. Um, I'll be honest with you, that is the area where my work interferes the most. I really do like to keep a clean house and neat, and it really drives me batshit when my house is cluttered and messy. That said, when you're doing rituals, meditation, trance work, writing, and recording videos 18, 20 hours a day, doesn't leave a lot of time for housework. It piles up, and then your house is cluttered and looks like crap and makes it harder to get clean. So yeah, the whole adulting concept, oh yeah, if I could get me a servitor to do that, I'd have it done in a heartbeat. And I'd definitely be putting the video on. You know how many people would love that video? Oh yeah, I wish I could get me one to do that adulting. Heck, if it's just house cleaning, I could handle the rest of the adulting. Let's see. Magic Malangle asks, can you get sick from using much of your own energy? Yes. Yes, you can. Think of it this way. If you're using your energy, you are depleting your energy stores. And your immune system and your energy stores, they have a correlation there. And if you're low on energy, your physical body actually begins to weaken as well. It gets tired, gets sluggish, and your immune system will drop. So you need to make sure your energy levels are staying in a reasonable level. So if you're constantly cranking out energy from your own energy reserves, yes, that will have an effect on your health. That's one of the reasons I actually recommend most people don't use their own energy for most of their magic. Um, and I think I did a video talking about that. If I didn't, it's been written. Oh man, I am so confused. But yeah, you want to try and use energy that's not necessarily your own. That's why we talk about pulling energy in from other sources when we're using it and to push it through our magic. That way we're not depleting ourselves. That's one of the ways that I managed to do spell work so often and for so long. If I was just utilizing my energy, I'd be passed out by noon easy. I'd stay sick, possibly in the hospital with all the crap I do. And when you are sick, you can do magic, but again, you want to be using energy stores that are not yours. And even when you are sick, you still want to limit your magic because anytime energy passes through you, some of your energy will be skimmed off, but very little. So, yeah, it can definitely deplete your energy there, Malango. Young Lion, welcome. Glad you made it. Scott, because I have day drinking to do. Well, we all got our priorities, my man. Although I agree, if I could get some adulting done, I'd probably spend most of my time in the backyard with the smoker going to just chilling out. All right, let's see here. Mystic Lavender White Wolf says, primarily because I am sensitive to spirits, especially negative ones. With that issue, Mystic, you're going to want to work on your grounding and shielding because when you do start working with dragons, they're going to work with the balance. So one of the things they're going to actually teach you is they're going to expose you to all these different energies and help you build up an adaptation to them. And there's really no two shakes about it, even starting off with just the first four rulers. Positive and negative does not mean good and evil. I think everyone here by this point knows that, but those vibrations are different, and we can be very sensitive to those different vibrations. But a fully functional magician who is working within that balance has to be able to have enough understanding of themselves how to work within both the positive and negative energy patterns and with the spirits on both sides of those patterns in order to truly work within that balance. Now, this can mean many different things. Some people just pelt themselves and work within the energy until they adapt to it and build up a resistance. Some people work within the grounding and shielding and using different magic circles in order to work with the entities without any effects or limiting the effects. The easiest place to start is with your grounding and shielding. That's the place where most people start. And then as you work through and work more with the larger rulers and the other dragons, or the negative aspects, negative energy patterns of the first four rulers, you adjust more and more to those energies, Mystic. I hope that helps. But yeah, and divinations is one of those areas where, yeah, you will encounter those energy patterns, especially if you're working with any level of necromancy, such as channeling of spirits or whatnot. Most people don't realize that I don't care how positive or love and light the spirit may be, spirits of the dead actually have a very low negative vibration to them, period. And so it's a fascinating little instance you'll run into. You'll have these very, very love, light, what appear to be high frequency spirits, but since they have passed on, there's still that low, dense um, energy current that flows through them. So you're kind of getting pelted by both of those at the same time. It's one of the more fascinating aspects of working with spirits that I've encountered. Well, it intrigues me anyways. Let's see what I got here. Malengo had a big energy surge after merging with my last soul shard, and now I have a cold. Yeah. That's one of the reasons you always work with one shard at a time, and you take your time and you work. And once it is merged, you actually take the time to recover, because that energy surge and that output of that merger and everything, it is a draining experience. And it can give you a cold. It can make you susceptible. So that makes perfect sense. The best thing you can do there is to try and get some rest, obviously. Do your basics for your cold. I mean, you got a cold, you got a cold. Do the basics for the cold. Now, what I like to do in those cases, though, Malango, is I will do the Dragon's Flame ritual or some ritual similar to it, and then I'll do an energy cycling meditation. So I'm charging myself with energy, external energy myself, and ramping it up. That helps to, whereas depleting your energy will tank your immune system, by doing an energy cycling meditation and basically overcharging your energy, it'll help boost your immune system and help you get through the cold or whatever illness you're working on a lot quicker. So yeah, energy cycling is kind of my go-to anytime I get sick, which is rare. I don't really get sick often. The downside to that is everybody's like, I wish I only get sick once every few years like you do. No, you don't. No, you don't. Because when I get sick, I feel and look like I'm dying. Which I haven't had to figure out what I'm going to do if I get sick on this channel yet. It's going to be an interesting hurdle to overcome when we get there, won't it? All right. But yeah, definitely try the energy cycling. Let's see what we got here. Cloud gazing, good to see you. Welcome. Wendy, good to see you. You almost forgot about it. When you left Discord, you was like, you was sure you was going to be back before now. My fan turned off for some reason. Okay. Let's see what we got here. Mystic Lavender White Wolf. When I lived with my ex, he had like 3 ghostly portals and several negative spirits there. Had a really scary attack on me, and I think one of the spirits followed me to my home. That's always a potential. It really is. But then again, that's one of those things where um, what most people don't realize is when it comes to the spirit realm, we are surrounded by spirits 24/7 every day of the week, all through the year. Um, Honestly, the spirit realm around us at any point, yes, even at this moment, is like Times Square in New York City at New Year's Eve. It's shoulder to shoulder, packed, no room to move. Um, Even if your house is guarded or warded, there's going to be something moving around. You can guarantee it. So the ones that we perceive are the ones that gather the energy and tend to manifest more or less, um, or vibrate in a way that we do end up perceiving them. This is why, again, grounding, shielding, and understanding your personal energy becomes so important. Because they can move, they can follow you around, they can follow you home. There's not a whole lot you can do about that other than attempting to do a cleansing or a banishing ritual before you actually. Anytime I do a paranormal investigation, me and my crew do a cleansing ritual, and they usually have me use the Dragon's Flame ritual for this. They absolutely love it, so that's usually the one we do. Um, but we'll do that, and then cleanse and do on the drive home. So not only do we cleanse while we're there, but on the drive home, so we're not there and we're not home either, we do another cleansing that covers the vehicle and us. So it basically, if anything's even trying to piggyback, we just kick it off on the road and go on home. If that makes sense. But grounding and shielding is really the best way to do that. You can also flow because you can set the energy in your house the way you want, what makes you happy, what makes you feel good. And if you do this, then you can keep that energy moving in the controlled area that you prefer. Just like setting the thermostat, you set it to the temperature you want. So you're setting the house to the vibration you want using wards and sigils and stuff like that. Let's see. Wendy asks, can you go into more detail about the planetary dragons? They seem very interesting. Well, I'm going to be going into those in a video shortly, Wendy. But by and large, each of the planets that we know does have a group of dragons that works with them. And they all fall under the 4 elements. So you don't actually have a planetary dragon ruler because one of the first 4 rulers, earth, air, fire, and water, are generally the ones that fall as the ruler of the planetary dragon groups. But you do have a massive number of different dragons that work with each of those planetary energy currents. And that's going to be what we're going to be talking about in that video. So we're going to be talking about the general spell work or ritual work that you can work with these entities with and these dragons to help accomplish. We're going to give a few examples of colors that if you wanted to build your ritual, use candles, that kind of stuff. And we're even going to be talking about days of the week because when you're working with planetary magic, days of the week does come into play somewhat. So we're going to be discussing that as well, like dragons of the sun. Obviously, Sunday is going to be one of the better days for working with any energy current lining up with the sun. Same thing with Monday for the moon, Saturday for Saturn, etc. But yeah, we are actually getting ready to do a full video doing an overview on those dragons, and we're considering going into detail with different workings with the different planets also. And we're also looking at doing an overview on the zodiac dragons as well. Let's see here. Animal Man, what we got here? Let's see. Animal Man asks, did you do the ritual where you get your guardian while simultaneously trying to open your psychic senses? Or should you do the latter first? Okay. Well, your visualization skills need to be at least functional to do the guardian dragon ritual, because you're going to need to be able to perceive the guardian dragon in some way, whether it be a feeling, emotion, or something along those lines. So if you mean, can you work on your psychic senses while attempting to reach out to your guardian dragon? Yes. Would I literally be doing both rituals at the exact same time? No, I would not. If you're seeking your guardian dragon, your full focus needs to be there. And honestly, if you're working on developing your psychic senses during that ritual, I would keep my focus there as well. But I mean, your psychic senses are constantly going to develop throughout your practice as a magician. So really, if you can get your visualization skills to the point where you can see an apple or hear any of the basic exercises that are listed in the Arcane Senses video, if you can get any of those to even halfway function, you should be able to go find your guardian dragon. And then from there, the guardian dragon can actually help develop your senses even further. One thing that people fall into the trap of, Animal Man, is they seek perfection before they move on. And the simple fact is there's no such thing as perfection. There really isn't. I have not met a magician yet who truly understands magic that would ever say that they have perfected any of their arcane senses or any of their energy work. They're always learning, they're always improving. And that even goes with those arcane senses and those psychic senses, because the more you utilize them, the more you work, the more real, the more tangible, and the more they improve. So yeah, I wouldn't. I mean, if you're seeking perfection, you don't want to do that. You just want to get it to a functional level that will work for you. And like I said, if you can look at the exercises in the Arcane Senses video, if you can get those to function halfway, you're good to go. And if you can even get a few of the first exercises in the Arcane Sight class to work, for example, if you're taking that free course over at the school, yeah, you can still be good to go. Hope that helps answer the question, man. Young Lion, a coffee button on your channel so we can buy you a coffee, brother. It links to your PayPal. I have no idea how to do that, Lion. I did not know that was a thing. I know the super chat's a thing. And you can, I mean, you're always welcome to buy me a coffee with the super chat, but I will definitely look into the, you call it a buy me a coffee button. I'll see if I can find it, find out what it is, and see if I can apply it. I'm not sure what it is, but I will check that out, because that does sound like something that would suit this channel pretty well. I mean, I live on magic and coffee at this point. I really do. So that's pretty cool. I will definitely look into that, young man. I appreciate it. Let's see what we got. Yeah, the Zodiac Dragons are a hoot. They really are. They don't work the way most people think they would, but they are a hoot to work with. And a lot of people already gathered that they were there, because look at the Dragon's Eye seal. You'll see those Zodiac signs around that outer ring. So there's a few people who's already been messaging me, pondering and meditating on the Dragon's Eye seal, and like, hey, Drake, these symbols, there's something. Yeah, there's something. We got it coming. We got it coming. All right. Let's get those likes up. Yep, Peachy's right. Let's get those likes up. All right. Mr. Lavender White Wolf, on a different topic, we talked about Zephyr Seal, Prosperity Dragon. I called upon Seal. The dragon called upon him that night on Friday to help me with the artwork. Be financially independent with it. Awesome. Zephyr Seal's great for art. And if you checked out the video for X Well, that prosperity dragon, he'll get you straight. He will. He will get you straight. He's a good old guy. And Zephyr Seal, when it comes to artwork and business, honestly, he's definitely one of the ones I enjoy working with. Cloud gazing. Do you know anything about the number 72? It comes up a lot in my casual studies, such as 72 demons, 72 names of God. I don't really know a whole lot about it. Numerology is one of those. I hated math in school. I'm not a fan of it. Outside my bank account and actually doing math when it comes to money, I suck at it. I'm really good as long as it's in money. I'm really good at math. It's weird because my wife's like a human calculator, but she comments how when it comes to financial side, I tend to be better. So even in the magical department, the numerics and number magic, it's not one of my stronger areas. The big thing I do know, like you said, you got the 72 names of God, you got the 72 demons of the Goetia. There's even a book based around the 72 angels. And I think that one was just themed to kind of be a counter to the 72 of the demons. Interesting book, though, really great book. But beyond that, and the fact that 72 does add up to 9, 9's considered to be one of the more powerful numbers of number of perfection, a number of completion and growth, a number of rebirth. That's the biggest bulk I know around it, which I guess that makes it sound like I know more about it than I originally said. To me, that's not a lot. But I hope that does help some. Yeah, young man, I have to admit, a buy me a coffee button would be freaking awesome. I just don't know if it's supported by YouTube. I think Linda had it on her Twitch channel at one point, but I don't know if YouTube supports it because there's a lot of different things that people want me to do, and YouTube just doesn't seem to utilize them. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to look into it, do some testing. But yeah, I'll look into it definitely because a buy me to purchase you a coffee button is, well, it's right up this channel's alley. It really is, especially for Magical Coffee Hour. Look at you, Bernaldus, quoting me. Yes, too much blood in my coffee system. If I wake up and my blood type ain't dark roast, we got a problem. Ooh, Mystic. Yeah, definitely enter that contest. And good luck. Knock it out of the park. Win that first prize. Yeah, there's some Fae hanging around here. I've been working with Mab and a few of the lords and ladies of winter on the path working. So yeah. So yeah, unfortunately, there is a bit of a concentration of Fae around the house, and they do like ringing their bells and stuff today. Well, in general, so it's been an interesting little bit. The wife's enjoyed it though, because she definitely loves having more Fae around the house, so that's been a perk. Let's see what we got here. I think I managed to catch up on all the questions tonight. We got 20 people watching, 16 likes. Some of you's missing some thumbs up here. So if you can, hit that thumbs up. It does help the channel out. It tells the algorithm people's watching. Let's see. The theme is Cutest Galaxy. Ooh, that sounds like a cool theme. It really does. Mystic, if you don't mind, whatever artwork you do, feel free to direct message it to me. I'd be interested to see what you do with that theme. That sounds really cool. Wendy asked, where would I rank the Zodiac and Planetary Dragons? Like whether should wait till I get through all four, or would it be safe to try and talk to them? Okay. So the Zodiac and Planetary Dragons, if you want to give them an arbitrary rating, like power scale, they're not on the same level as the first four rulers. So, but they do very much focus on changes and stuff. So you got to be careful and you got to understand what you're working with them for, because planetary energy currents and zodiac currents will affect you. And when it comes to the zodiac dragons, they're more about balance than what most people would think about, like your zodiac sign. Like the worst thing an Aquarius could do is jump in and start working with an Aquarius dragon, because that's going to throw them so far out of balance, it's ridiculous. Because you're channeling that Aquarian energy into an Aquarian, which is going to supercharge them and throw them all out of whack. And then the planetary dragons, it really depends on the dragon you're working with. Like the dragon of Saturn, that is a very direct, that's a very aggressive dragon. He's not patient. He doesn't, or well, all the Saturn dragons, they're aggressive, they're direct, they're quick. So they're not really what most people would say is a beginner-friendly dragon. Of course, every magician has to make this call for themselves. Ideally, for the dragon magic practitioner, I would wait until you have a solid foundation and relationship with the ruler that would associate to the corresponding grouping before you reach down to them. So I would wait until you finished working through all four of the rulers. If you're in the Dragon Magic 101 course, I would definitely finish out that course in completion before reaching out to them. Or at least complete the path working for the ruler before reaching out to the grouping that the ruler oversees. Let's see what we got here. Tag me on Facebook or Instagram. That should work. Appreciate that. Yeah, I get it. Technology hates me too. Anyone who caught the first start of Friday's stream realizes we had a big technological hiccup there. A lot of fun. So yeah. No, I get it. And Discord, it's some people it works really well for. Some people it just don't seem to like them. Honestly, when I first got on Discord, it hated me. It took me forever for it to, I guess, adjust to me or me to adjust to. I don't know who adjusted to who. Luckily, it's working now. PGS, does that mean that there's a Mercury dragon that gets mad and goes dark 4 times a year? No, there is a Mercury dragon that if you start complaining about Mercury retrogrades, will get mad and smack you in the back of the head and gives you. They really, when it comes to retrogrades and accusing energy patterns of your problems, dragons do not have the patience for your excuses. And especially when you're trying to claim you're a magician, a practitioner, or someone who's seeking to be this. And if you're working with dragons, that's definitely your goal. This is one reason people have issues with dragons. They don't like excuses when it comes to things like that. But especially the planetary dragons. And yes, the Mercury one. Because the Mercury one, when it comes to that word retrograde, he is so tired of getting the blame for everyone's crap. The whole grouping of them is just, it amazes me. I haven't met a Mercury dragon yet that you can bring this conversation to, and they're just chill about it. They are not. They got no chill left on that topic. Even when you're on their side, you're trying to understand how to work with it and everything like that. You can still tell that there's just this irritation for the way humans have handled this situation. But no, that's one of the big things. And I know that's a big controversial thing for magicians these days because everybody's like, well, Mercury retrograde. The energy patterns adjust and alter, but if you're a magician and you're in charge of the energy patterns in your life, it shouldn't affect you. It really shouldn't. That's kind of a big controversial snafu, and the dragons, they expect you to handle your stuff. If that makes sense. Let's see. Ariel asks, what do I think about pop culture spirits in modern times, such as creating your own pantheon from movie characters and connections to god thorns, tulpas, etc.? Well, that falls heavily into chaos magic and chaos practice. And it definitely, it really does. It falls in, like you said, thought forms and egregores and such. Can it work? Yes, it really can. It really can. Although that said, everyone that like I have a lot of friends who work in this area and practice it and have their own pantheons, and many of them's even shared sigils and whatnot, so I can contact the entities that they've worked with and created through this method. And they're fascinatingly detailed. They really are. And they're functional in spell work, and they do yield the results. So if that's what you're after, problem solved. Now, if you compare the same energy, for example, just as an example, let's say you're taking someone who's using Marvel's Norse pantheon as opposed to the real Norse pantheon. If they're not actually linked to the Norse pantheon, which by this general theory, we're assuming they're not, then you will find out that the energetic matrix of these entities is nothing compared to what the actual entities are. There does seem to be a differential there. But other than that, if you're getting the results, then there's no biggie. As long as you're getting the results you want in your magic, that's pretty much the goal of the magician. And if you're yielding the results you want and you're happy, and yeah, you're manifesting stuff, everything, I got no problems with it. I do find it to be for me personally, so outside just the theory, the results and all that, for me personally, I have utilized the techniques in order to create some intricate, detailed thought forms based upon the pop culture entities and everything, thought forms that are, like I said, more complex, and I utilized it for that. But I still did build in the kill command just in case. But I've always found it yielded pretty good results on that matter. But it does create a bit more of an advanced thought form, and there's a bit more to it than the standard thought forms. But they can yield some pretty awesome results. And at the end of the day, if a magician's getting the results they're seeking, I say go with it. That's always been my thing. I'm not a religious person. Y'all know that. I'm not really spiritual. I'm the science of magic and the results. So if the magician's yielding the results, get it done. Let's see what we got here. All the witches bothered about Mars retrograde. I'll be honest with you. I haven't heard anything about it, but then again, most of my colleagues and everything, they know how to manage their energy. This is the first I've really heard about it. I don't track them. But I can understand why, if someone's not keeping the energy in their life in check on their own, and they're just letting the universe pelt them around wherever, I can see why Mars retrograde might be an issue for them. No, I would say the Mars Dragons are not too upset, honestly. Let's see. Animal Man. Animal Man asked, "Do I have any experience with the Greek pantheon?" Limited. I do have experience with it, but it's limited. The one I've worked the most with is Hades. Me and Hades got along really great. Him and I both love dogs, so we spent a great time talking about different dogs and everything. But he's really one of the first ones that I was speaking with when it came to my research on the afterlife and different underworlds and stuff like that. Because as many of you know, I left the church and had a lot of theological questions. And growing up, I just encountered a lot more Greek mythology than anything. So he was really the first one I thought of when it's like, if I'm going to seek out an entity to try and ask these questions, who would I ask? And Hades popped up, which was fascinating because in all the mythology and different stories I've seen, Hades was a bit of a dick. And then I met him, and he was pretty laid back and chill. I mean, he's really got a bad reputation, but really great guy to work with. Talk with, very intelligent, wise, understanding from death, and totally willing to help introduce you into other entities to help you get larger perspectives. He's actually the first one that introduced me and had me go work with hell because him and I had spent so much time together. He's like, okay, now to get a broader picture, go over here and talk to this particular entity. Go talk to her. She can help you out. So yeah, I do have some there. I've worked some with Zeus. I've worked a little with Hera. Um, see, Aphrodite, I've worked with quite a bit for different reasons for different clients. Narcissist, believe it or not, I've had to work with Narcissist a few times. No surprise, me and him don't get along too well. Because I don't get along with narcissists in general, much less the deity thereof. But different things like that. So I have some experience, but it's not a pantheon that I would claim deep knowledge of. Most of my experience is mainly with Hades. Because again, I tend to work on building a relationship with an entity, not necessarily a pantheon. But yeah. Honestly, I can get along with Zeus, but I'd rather not spend time with him. Let's see here what we get. Wendy, actually, the zodiac dragons have very little to do with astrology and retrogrades because they'll be the first ones to point out that what we refer to retrograde is nothing but an illusion, an optical illusion of the human eye. The planets do not actually move backwards. And since they don't actually move backwards, the planet itself is not actually generating this reverse current that we've come to know as retrogrades. What actually ends up creating the reversed current is us self-cursing. Since we take on that belief of that reverse current due to an optical illusion and we worry about it, we end up screwing ourselves over. And I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of hate mail for that comment. But yeah, that is pretty much the dragon's stance on it. And honestly, it's the stance of every entity I've talked about with it. But yeah, so not dealing in astrology or anything, that's not going to be an issue. Honestly, I don't deal in astrology at all. Some of you in Discord know that it's it's an area I have next to no knowledge on, and really I haven't taken the time to research it. A few astrologers, they always love to do my charts and stuff, and I do find it fascinating to see how people can piece it together. But um, at best, for me, astrology is a snapshot of this is what you were. But at the same time, I'm constantly working to shape myself. Which when you look in like the Dragon Magic 102 course that we're working on, we get into Draconic Alchemy, where basically anything in your natal chart or anything in any astrology that you get, you can literally alchemically and energetically change and create traits and imbue yourself with traits to shape yourself into the person you want to be, as opposed to whatever energy patterns or whatever was there when you were born. And that's the stuff we're going to be talking about in like Dragon Magic 1 of that. Luna, the Planetary Dragons for Earth, I haven't talked to them lately. I'll be honest with you. They're the ones I have not spoken to lately, just yet. I'm sure I got to get around it. But Emily, that's an interesting way to put astrology. It really is. And that's not a bad way to put it. That's really not. And like I said, it's not necessarily that I don't believe it. It's not my area of expertise. I don't know much about it and I don't utilize it. And at this point in my practice, I'm not sure I have much use for it because I do spend more time shaping the energy specifically how I want it as opposed to where stars and planets are located. But no, that's actually a really good way to state that, Emily. There is because you're right. It's not a belief system. It's a because those movements do control energy patterns. That's a dead set. They do control energy patterns. Um, the retrogrades. That's where there's some arguments and skepticism and whatnot. Definitely for me, even because I've actually sat here and monitored those energy patterns before and after. There was no shifts, an optical illusion. But you're right. It's definitely something that has to be done and interpreted, and there's different systems of it, and the different interpretations of it. And I've always found it fascinating how well people can read those charts. Um, and one day, if I get the spare time, I am hoping to potentially look into it more myself. But right now, it's just it's not a priority for me. And I'm not knocking the astrologers and people who do astrology at all. Please don't take that for that. Um, because most of the astrologers, actually all the astrologers I've talked to, they're really big on using astrology to shape and create, not be held to and victimized by your chart. So, I mean, that's the ones I know. Mystic Lavender White Wolf, is it odd to have a demon tell you the truth about yourself? Nope. Honestly, demons are actually very, very honest. What we call demons are not these evil beings that Judo Christianity has painted them as. They're entities just like any of the other entities, including the gods. And most of them are actually pretty keen on trying to help us. So, yeah, it's not uncommon at all. In fact, demons are probably the ones that can be the bluntest with telling you truth about yourself. And yeah, they'll definitely point out abilities that you have that you are unaware of. That's not to say demons won't try use trickery to advance you, because they can be tricksy, but they're not the evil beings they've been painted as. In fact, many of them were just ancient gods that Judeo-Christian lore, in order to lift up their god and single it out as the one god that's like, well, this ain't a god, it's a demon. That's where most of the demons came from. So the term demon as we use it today is, I don't really see any way to get away from the word anymore, but you do have to understand where the word was, what it was used for, and what the entities we call demons are. They're not the evil beings that are just the opposite of the ultimate good angels that everyone tends to want to paint them as. In fact, angels will lie to you a lot. And some of the meanest, most aggressive entities I've met are angels. I have seen angels just slaughter people for no reason other than it suited their purpose. Let's see. Animalman asks, is there a realm where dragons reside in? And if so, have you ever been there? Yes. So first off, dragons do generally work to reside in most, if not all, realms, but they do actually have their own realm. Its proper name, I screw it up every time. I'm not going to try. But in general, it's referred to as the Draconic Realms. And it is a massive plane or realm where dragons tend to reside, and there's connections to all the different primal elemental planes there as well. And yes, I have been there. And it's actually something that we're working on. The Dragon Magic 102 course, I know the dragons are having me put it in there so that students can actually visit the Draconic Realms directly. I'm wanting to do a YouTube video on it, and I just not got around to talking to the Draconic rulers as to if that's something I can put on YouTube at this time or if I need to wait. When it comes to that kind of stuff, I do respect their wishes on that particular areas. So it is possible. It's not easy to access. It's actually one of the harder planes to access. But yeah, there is actually one of them. Let's see. Phone. I cannot. We're going to call you Phone. I'm sorry if I'm butchering that. A difficult relationship with the dragons of Earth. I'm wondering if there is a way to work with any of the dragons to help calm the firestorms and bring rain without disturbing the balance. That's a tricky one. That is a tricky one because there is a large chunk of those firestorms right now that is all about balance. There's already something out of balance and they're actually serving a purpose. So without getting into the advanced sides of it, Phone, the easiest way to approach it would be to actually do a ritual. I'd actually recommend using the Dragon's Flame ritual for this and do a spell working focusing strictly on balance. So don't focus necessarily on the firestorms themselves. Focus on the area that they're in, and using the Dragon's Flame ritual, focus on restoring the balance to those areas quickly. And what this will do is the quicker the balance is restored, the quicker everything's going to level out and do exactly what it is you're wanting without risking you tipping and unbalancing something accidentally. I hope that helps some. Wendy asks, something I've been thinking about recently is, are there sub-elements or subclasses of dragons? With Planetary Dragons, it raises a question for me. Yes, actually there are. So you will definitely find like volcanic dragons, lava dragons, storm dragons, which Some of them's crossed element dragons, so they're actually like storm dragons. They're actually air and water. And some storm dragons even have a bit of element of fire in there. Obviously, the volcanic dragons are definitely going to be earth and fire. And then you'll find earth dragons themselves. There's different things under those. Like you will find actual dragons or dragons that specialize in specific plants or animals. So they're all definitely falling under that earth dragon category, but they are definitely um, more specific, and that's actually where you start getting your specialty dragons from. Let's see. Mystic Lavender Watwell says, interesting. I have had a demon tell me I had strong psychic abilities heavily connected to energies. That's kind of why I'm skeptical about using certain divination tools. Um, yeah, and I get that, honestly. I won't lie. For years in my personal practice, I avoided demons like the plague. I really did, but I come from a Southern Baptist background, so got my own issues I had to work through there. But as I did more research and lore, and learned more about where these entities originated, um, eventually I had to reach out and talk to them because I'm a big believer in get info straight from the horse's mouth. And as I did, I started to realize that most of these entities, they're just same as all the others. I mean, every entity has its own energy pattern and current. Some of them have similarities. Like you will notice a similar energy in the Nordic entities, but you'll also notice similar energies in the Greek entities. But if you look at most of the pantheonic entities, you'll even find a similarity between those. So it's if you look deep enough, you're going to find similarities. But just like every individual is indeed an individual, these entities themselves are individuals and they do have individual energy patterns. Um, so, yeah, most of these ancient gods and stuff that just got labeled um, as demons, they kind of do have a bad rap. And I'm pretty sure somebody's going to see this and be like, Drake, you're giving that's bad. You shouldn't be saying that. But it's true. It really is true. And it doesn't take long research to find that there's people out there who's worked with these entities and they have a massively prosperous, loving relationship with them that is no different than any of the traditional deities that practitioners work with. No problem, Fortnite. I know that's a big issue for a lot of people, and I do know a lot of magicians who are working on that issue. So yeah, that is the best way to handle it. Animal Man asks, "Do I see the gods as thought forms in any way?" Honestly, I don't. This is a question that came up early in my practice. The more I learned about egregores and thought forms, and I did wonder if the gods were potentially thought forms or egregores that we've just poured so much energy into that they became this being that we now refer to as a god. And I know a lot of people still do, and there's nothing wrong with that. No problem at all with that. But me personally, after interacting with all the different entities I did and or have and continue to, and the information that they give that predates anything we know as human on this rock, and yet archaeology and science can actually go further back and it actually lines up. That tells me there's more to it than just what we put there. And they seem to be far more diverse than the ideologies that we've given them also. So for me personally, and again, I do state that element. This is my personal perspective from my research and my working with them. I honestly do not think they are thought forms. I really don't. Now, I'm sure there's plenty of entities out there that are thought forms and or egregores that came from somewhere. But by and large, the most of the what we refer to as gods, and at least especially the ones I've worked with, I don't find them to be thought forms at all. I hope that's helpful, if and not too confusing. Wendy, so I've been working with Terrafauna for a while, getting close to starting with Zephyrsil. What do you think that once I finish working with Fauna, I could reach out to the Planetary Dragon? Eh, um, Technically speaking, any of the planetary dragons that associate with the element of Earth, you could attempt to reach out to. Um, at this point in practice, is it recommended? Probably not, but you could attempt it. But you would only want to attempt the ones that were falling under that Earth element. And I would personally recommend my student until you finished working with all rulers before reaching out to the planetary dragons. Um, but if you're gun ho and you want to give it a shot, then you could, but you would have to only reach out to the ones of the ruler that you finished working with. And hopefully you have a really strong working relationship with that ruler. If you've just finished the path working and you haven't really built a strong friendship or relationship yet, you might want to put more time into it before you reach out. There's a few students who have finished the Dragon Magic 101 course, and they've messaged me saying that they enjoyed the course, they loved it, but they found they want to go back and nurse and build those relationships up further. And I keep telling them that's the point. You want those relationships as strong as possible. It's not a just do it once and done path working. Dragon Magic is about those relationships. You want them strong. You want to build them the same way as you would a real life relationship with a person. You're going to spend plenty of time with them and you want to continually build on it. The stronger it is, the better. That's one reason I'm not in a major rush for the 102 course, because you really do need to build those relationships before we get into the 102. Let's see what we got. Cloud gazing. Cloud gazing. I've heard of demons breaking the bones of a magician and how they would try to penetrate the circle when summoned. I've heard these stories. I've heard these tales myself. And unless the magician has done something to deserve angering these entities, I've never seen it actually happen, for one. And for two, most of your demons that are worth summoning are strong enough that I'll be honest, that magic circle is not going to stop them. If they want to break it, they can break it. We put way too much credit into the protection of a magic circle. Um, it's it's great for keeping out random energy just flowing around. It's great for keeping out most of your lesser spirits, and it's great for keeping out roaming spirits of human spirits. It's great for all those things. But most of the entities that magicians work with, it's if they want to break it, they're going to break it. It's not going to stop them. And especially with dragons, dragons have the ability to just completely ignore energy if they so choose. So a dragon could just reach right through there without any hesitation. So I would suspect many of these larger demons, like Belial, Azazel, um, Astaroth, and the like, I would theorize that they would have a similar ability as well. Um, and I have seen them easily shatter a circle by a practitioner who's been doing their circles for 50 plus years. So But that said, if you do something to disrespect them and piss them off, just like anything, yeah, there's going to be repercussions. But they're not just malevolent beings that's going to summon up and then you're going to do it. And for example, if you look at the Key of Solomon, and you look at those rituals, especially the translated versions, you realize you start by threatening them. I'll tell you right now, you call me to your house for dinner and threaten me, threaten to shoot me, beat me with a ball bat and all these things. If I show up, I'm bringing an ass whooping with me. You can guarantee it. And that's kind of the same thing that they will follow by. So, but when you work with them with respect, I've never known a magician who's approached them respectfully and has ran into those types of issues. Easy peasy. But yeah, I've heard those stories too, and I always keep my eyes out and try to stay aware. But by and large, it's just never something I've necessarily encountered. If you casted a circle, you're supposed to do an area cleansing before you cast the circle. So if you cleanse the area, then no, there shouldn't be an entity trapped in there. Wait a minute, what the? Harmon Custom Guitars, Time Zone. I love your live feed. Jason, is that you? Hell, son bitch. I appreciate you checking out the feed, my man. I appreciate it. Thank you for joining us. Oh, well, I didn't even know you watched it. For those who don't know, this individual who does custom guitars, that is my brother. Yes, I actually have family. And I did not know he watched these streams. That is freaking awesome, man. Appreciate it. Thank you. Hopefully you got you a good drink or coffee, something there with you. And hopefully the girls aren't killing you. Well, I'm glad you got to jump in on the live feed this week. Let's see here. Where was I? Okay, that threw me off. Sorry about that, everyone. It's one of life's little bonuses kind of things. Let's see. There you go. There you go. Nice good scotch. There you go. I got a buddy who's bringing me a Johnny Walker Blue bottle soon. So. Although I'd settle for a John Grant at this point. Yeah, I think the storms are picking up. I heard some weird sound. Okay, let's see. Okay. All great questions tonight, people. Keeping me on my toes. But yeah, make sure you are doing a cleansing of the area cloud before you do cast your circle. Because if you don't cleanse the area and you cast your circle, then yeah, you could actually trap them in with you. Because think of the circle as creating a container, and that's one of the reasons we do cast it, because when we pull in that energy in, we're gathering the energy into the circle and into that area, and it actually holds it and contains it. And the fact that it can contain those lesser entities is, where we get the stories and the mythology of, containing it within a magical, containing entities within those magical circles. But that is also why you want to do a good cleansing ritual before you set up your circles. This day and age, unless I'm gathering energy specifically, I don't tend to use circles as much for evocation because I'm not trying to gather energy. I'm just trying to contact the entity. In which case, like I said, I'm not gathering energy. So me personally, I don't always tend to use circles as often as I used to because of that. Let's see what we got here. It has been a really long time with me for me, Mysterious, but I mean, anytime you start threatening something that you're wanting to help you, that's just rude. Right. And me and Raven, I know y'all's heard me mention Raven a few times on here, as well as Katrina and a buddy of ours named Malcolm. We ran a few experiments ourselves, and Malcolm and Raven got about 20 other people each to run the experiment, where we worked through the Key of Solomon by the letter, which, by the way, that was just insane. Way too much work, but we did it. And then we compared that with results using a more friendly, general evocation approach. And every one of us agreed we actually got better results using a simpler version where we were friendlier and more respectful of the entities. Now, is this proof positive? No, but it's a large sampling where we did tend to get those results. And I'm not knocking Solomonic magic, don't get me wrong. I know a lot of practitioners who do it and they get the results they want. And again, it comes down to those results. Me personally, I try to treat people and entities the way I want to be treated. So those rituals just don't jive with me. They really don't. Much like I said, you threaten me, you better be ready to back that threat up. I'm not. I've never been calm and cool-headed when being threatened. If I'm calm, you should probably worry because that means at that point my brain's calculating how to whoop you. And so because of that, I treat the entities I work with that same respect. But for the some Solomonic practitioners who do follow the rituals to the letter and everything, and they're getting results, more power to them. But anyone who talks to my students, they'll know I don't use the Solomonic methods of evocation. Um, for one, I seek practicality and yeah, taking a week or more in order to send one entity, that's just not practical, in my view. Can we buy peace with coffee? Oh, well, for what it's worth, for all my Patreon members on tier 2 and 3, I do spell work every month for them. And yes, peace, prosperity, good fortune, stuff like that is stuff that is just baked into that spell working for all of them every month. So yeah, you could look at it as that is, contributing to the shrine of coffee or buying me a cup of coffee, and therefore you get that piece for the month. That's one way to look at it. Of course, I'm going to look into Young Lion's idea of getting that buy Drake a cup of coffee button. So, and cloud gazing, what you got to understand about many of these things, you're coming across with there's the religious influence on many of these old grimoires. Most of the old grimoires were written in a method that the church would allow. The magician may not have actually used it. It was more of the magician wrote it in a way the church would be okay with. Second, you also have different traditions approach things very differently. Different does not mean wrong. This is one hole so many practitioners fall into. If it differs, it's wrong. That is not true. If it's different, it's different. That's it. An apple and an orange are different. That doesn't make one bad and one good. It's a preference. But magic is the same way, and traditions work the same way. So you will find differences through those different traditions. And this is one reason I try to make people understand that, traditions are a thing. Even if gatekeeping is a problem, traditions are a thing. You've studied Gardenarian. Does that make you a Gardenarian witch? No! I have studied the Gardenarian practice. I've never been initiated. I am not. And I wouldn't even say my understanding of it is enough that you would even, because there's plenty that they keep behind the initiations. And every tradition has their different methods. And if it works and it's yielding good results, so be it. And that's not to say every method works, because y'all know I've done plenty of experiments that's blew up in my face. But if you look at those 28 laws of magic, there's a reason that they do talk about results, and the reality of the magic is in the results and if it's working. And if that's the case, you keep doing what you're doing. And once you are getting the results you want, if you want to tweak it to try and improve it, obviously that's fine. But yeah, a lot of people do fall into that. And you don't have to spend long in any online forum of magic to see someone voice an opinion about what's working for them and get 20 people jump up and scream at them because it's not what they do. Which is one thing I'm really thankful our Discord community. That group is really great about understanding the differential there, and they understand that results matter, and if it's working, it's functional, and your magic is producing the life that you want, that's okay. So we've been really blessed to avoid that somehow, some way. I don't know how I've managed it. But at the same time, I'm pretty sure all my moderators would shut that shit down if it did happen. I know I would. So great questions, everyone. We're going to go ahead and hop off here this evening. We definitely went over our coffee hour. We got a coffee hour and a half. We do have a new video coming out Tuesday, and this is a video that has been requested a lot. It's about the Norse practice of magic and dragons and how the two interweave together, because some people believe Norse practice and dragon magic shouldn't go together well, and it seems to conflict. So this is a video that's talking about how the two do work very well together, and many of the experiences and gnosis I've had working with both systems. So yeah, Tuesday's video is going to be a hoot. I hope everyone enjoys it. Also, Jason, bro, really great to see you joining us tonight. Thank you for dropping in. Keep an eye on those girls. Tell them I said hi. And everyone, be sure to join us in the Discord if you haven't already. There should be a link in the videos below. If you have any questions, Discord's the easiest way to reach me, or drop a comment in the below when the video uploads. Also, we do have new videos that release every Tuesday, and we do live streams Friday and Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. In the meantime, everyone, stay safe, stay healthy, keep your research and practice going, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.